I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. FDA Commissioner Robert Califf testified about the baby formula shortage during a Senate Health Committee hearing on Thursday. Senator Bill Cassidy kicked off his round of questioning by referring to a chart that blamed President Biden on the shortage. The Louisiana Republican also pointed to, quote, dysfunctional leadership that contributed to the crisis. Listen in for the entire exchange.
Senator Cassidy.
Hey, Dr. Califf. I'm sorry we're having to have such a contentious hearing. I think this graph demonstrates better than the graphs in your paper the issue. The summer before this began, or a summer ago, there was an 8% increase in the shortage rate on shelves. And it actually was increasing prior to this latest episode, and this is when Abbott was closed. So it seems as if there was something happening here. Now, there was a Politico article, you can put that down, thank you. There's a Politico article from May 9th, and I will quote it. One of the takeaways was that the food division has structural and leadership problems. Aside from the lack of attention of food at the top, unique problems in the Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, a deep-seated culture of avoiding hard decisions, and a near-paralyzing fear of picking serious fights with food industry. And then it describes a power struggle between the top two officials, further strengthening the status quo of inaction. Now, to follow up on Senator Collins' comment, Zoom can work if people are actually communicating. But if there is a silence between the two, maybe actually being in the office and rubbing shoulders is somewhat conducive to information being passed. Now, I'm gathering from your answer that these two top leaders were probably Zooming, they were not in the office, and that their chief lieutenants were probably Zooming and they were not in the office. Is all that correct?
They were in the office some, but in general, it's correct that most of the work.
And some, as you and I know, I don't mean to be insulting, but some can be 1 day a year, 1 day a month, or 1 day a week. Do you have a sense of what some is?
I'd say it depends on the individual that you talk about.
And of these two top, who apparently their structural problems and the deep-seated conflict between the two most likely is implicated here, how frequently were they in the office?
I don't have the data on that.
I understand that, but that would be useful to know. Now, it does make sense to me that if you have a dysfunctional mailroom and you've got a dysfunctional leadership and no one has actually seen each other, that it could take time for such a report to be done. And I'll just point that out, knowing that you, as the leader, will have to address that. Secondly, what percent, going back to, you mentioned how the inspectors are commonly in the field, but we know that HHS stayed shut down for far longer than the private sector. How many inspectors were, hold this up once more. We had a problem a summer ago. How many inspectors were actually not in the field working because of coronavirus? I'm not talking about the specific December function where there was COVID at the Abbott plant, but just in general, how many were Zooming their inspections as opposed, what percent of the workers, whatever, as opposed to actually showing up for work?
As you know, we have very limited authority to do inspections virtually. We actually need to have that as part of inspections, but the inspections were hands-on in the plant.
And so what percent of your inspectors were actually working as opposed to not being at work? Because HHS had a huge problem of people not showing up for work for 2 years.
I think from every piece of data I've seen, we have a very high rate of work. And I might also mention, you know, I was at a pretty highly functioning business called Alphabet, which has done pretty well, where when you have the kind of work that
I've limited time, I accept that, but inspecting on site is different than what Alphabet does.
I agree.
And I don't mean to be rude. Regarding importation and labels, Canada, New Zealand, UK, all speak a form of English. Have we attempted to import from there, from non-FDA inspected facilities, knowing that getting FDA inspection can be prolonged, difficult, timely, et cetera, time-consuming, have we attempted to alleviate by importing from English-speaking countries with standards similar to ours?
The short answer is yes. We are open to all the applications. We've got 26 already.
But I'm told that for that to occur, there's a 90-day lead-in period for the FDA to inspect.
That's not correct.
So if somebody from the UK said, I've got formula, it meets our standards, you can fly it in? Or
We can document most of what needs to be done without doing a hands-on inspection ahead of time, and we're doing that. I do want to address the Canadian
Can I finish
situation.
that one more thing?
Yes.
Are we actually importing from non-FDA inspected facilities in English-speaking labeled countries who meet our standards intuitively?
We are looking at those applications, and it's likely that we will, where we have high degree of confidence in reciprocal inspections that have been done by others.
So we have not started yet. Do you have a timeline of when that might begin? Because applications pending is a kind of, in an agency described as dysfunctional, could be months from now.
No, it will not be months, it'll be days. Every day you'll see a new one come on board.
Okay, thank you. I yield.